Hello and welcome backstage. You all know me, my name's Elizabeth, and I am thrilled to be here with all of you today for another stamp class. Let me just kind of turn my light down just a little bit so it's not reflecting in my glasses. Kat Langford is watching. Good morning, Kat. It's awesome to have you here. As you know, as I have one pop on, that's my cue to officially begin with. Good Thursday morning and welcome to Use It Up. This stamp class is going to feature the Filled with Fun bundle, and I am using up some retired paper. It just retired from last year's annual catalog. It's called Masterfully Made. And so that's what I'm going to be using up today. I'm also going to be using up some ribbons and some sequins and all that good stuff. Good morning, Tandra and Tandra. I can never remember. Why am I? It's because I have a good friend named Tanya. And so so remind me again, please. Karen and Kat and Barbara, good morning to you all. And Jacqueline, it's awesome to have you here with me. You love the straight hair. Good morning. So yeah, what I realized is I can straighten my hair here in Boise, and because it is so dry here, it will stay straight. If I straighten my hair in San Jose, within about a half hour, I have little frizz coming here, and about an hour, it's just frizzy everywhere. No matter what product I put on it, it will not stay straight. This is product free, and I'm surprised. Karen is our newest member here in the Backstage Pass. Welcome. So glad that you are here. And Kathleen is on. So she says, ha, ha, ha. I'm assuming that, Tandra, you're talking about the hair. But yes, down in Mission Viejo, my hair will do the same exact thing. So, yay, Karen. Thank you, Kat, for welcoming her. Okay, so lots to talk about. Today is going to be a little bit of a different class. And you may or may not notice, but I have not made the cards yet for today's class. And that's because it's been a little bit of a rough week. So we had puppies. We had a litter of puppies on Saturday, on May 4th. How cool is that? I'm like, oh, Star Wars themed names. So we had a Leia, Luke, and R2-D2. And I noticed late Saturday night that the third one that was born, she was a party mix, really cute, but I noticed her legs weren't working right. And you know, when newborn puppies, they root for their mom, and they look for them, and they wiggle and they squirm. Well, she was just rolling on her back. She was never using her legs. And I'm like, So I was having to hold her up to nurse and helping her. Yes, Stephanie, you made it to alive. Excellent. So I'm just saying, I'll catch you up, why my class will be just a little bit different. So this little puppy started out, things didn't look quite right. And so I was helping her nurse, and she was doing that. And then by Sunday, she was showing symptoms of fading puppy syndrome. And I don't know if you know what that is, but that usually is, I've never seen one survive fading puppy syndrome. And it's kind of like, they look like, and I don't want this to be a sad class, because it's not a sad class. It's filled with fun. Anyhow, she kind of looked like a fish when they're out of water and their mouths go like this. And the only reason a dog will have their mouth open is to, pant. And she wasn't even doing that. And so I could tell that it wasn't long before she would probably pass away. And she did. And I was sad because I love those party mixes. They're so cute. Hello, Carolyn. Good to have you here. And I just was kind of bummed. And then a few hours later, another one started showing symptoms of fading puppy syndrome. So I spent all of Sunday and all of Monday just right next to that little whelping box, trying to help these little things. So it put me behind in my schedule of getting things ready today. Sorry. They're just little creatures, 5 ounces, but So now we have one little puppy. I've never had a litter of one. There's no dog piles. It's just kind of sad. So I'm keeping my eye on him. We've switched his name to Solo because he's kind of all alone. So he's Han Solo. Yep, so I'm behind. So I'm gonna stamp cards today. And I have a good plan of what they're gonna look like. Let's just see how they actually turn out. I may have to get some ideas from you. Where should I put it? How should I do it? Yada, yada, yada. Oh, thanks, Daisha. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's flip the camera, forget the business, and let's have some therapy with some ink and some paper and some die cuts and all that good stuff. I have already done all the die cutting. So here comes the hand, and let's begin with what we're here for today, and that is to do some good old-fashioned stamping, right? Okay, let me see if I can tighten everything up here. And why? So my stand, let's see here. Let's try and get rid of what's right here where my thumb. Okay, so I don't usually have that showing. All right, sorry, folks. Okay, there we go. We don't want that extra stuff in there. That's just kind of ugly and distracting. Okay, here we go. All right, today's class is Use It Up. I am using up the Masterfully Made DSP and some sequins and ribbons, but a little bit of business. For those of you who are customers of mine, there's an awesome special going on this month. It is like super awesome. For $99, you get to pick $125 worth of whatever you want. And on top of that, they're going to also send another $82 worth of in-color products. So that's a great way to get the in-color products into your library of Stampin' Up! Stuff, is by joining right now. So for $99, it's, so what's 125 plus 82? Don't make me do math. I can't even think right now. Anyways, so you get that free. Plus you, obviously you're here in the Backstage Pass, but you'll also be receiving, the Country Woods Studio Ink Spots PDF version for free. So you'll be part of that group automatically. And I'm going to start sending to all of my downlines, starting with this new catalog year. I'll be sending monthly the PDF for Technique Time. So Kathleen Gonzalez, you're here. So you'll be receiving that. You'll receive the PDF version. So you'll know the measurements. You'll see all the pictures ahead of time, and you can kind of prep some things. So fun stuff with that. So that's coming up. Next week, the pickup class is the Lifetime of Love bundle. Where did I put the dies? They're around here somewhere. I've lost the dies. But this is carried over. You'll find it in the Encore section of the new catalog. I couldn't even think of what it was called. Kat, you have really considered that joining special. I'm glad you've considered it. It's really a cool one. And I mean, it's 5 ink pads, a pack of DSP, the in-color DSP. It's a pack of all the cardstock, so you get 4 of each piece. Each color, sorry. And the Stampin' Right markers. Holy moly, that's a lot of stuff. 207. Stephanie, thank you for having my back on that one. Sometimes I'm fine with math, and other times my brain just doesn't go there anymore. I'm like, maybe it's because I haven't had a math class in over like 30 years. Okay, so this is going to be a good class. I'm not even quite sure what papers I'm going to use, but we're just going to make some pretty stuff using the Lifetime of Love. It's a really cool die set, so that's going to be great. And you already know that this month's Technique Time is the Flowers and Frames DSP. Now, I have had to actually make a second order so I can take a few more people. I have a few more spots available. I already sold it out, but like I said, I've had time to order some more. So that will be coming. You have time to order this class. It's going to be fabulous. Jacqueline says, I don't need this set. I don't need this set. I don't need this set. She's talking about this one. You know, here's the thing. There are other sets that are similar, like Encircled in Nature. I think that might be the name. It's a new online exclusive. Anyhow, find something similar. And there's been some past ones that might be similar, and create with that. Look at your stash carefully. That's what we're here to do today, is to use what's in our shelves and all that. So I'm sure you will find something, and case along. It doesn't have to be the exact one, but I have enjoyed working with this. Good self-talk, Jacqueline. Yep, we enable. We're really good at enabling one another, right? So I am, for this technique class, I'm using the Frames and Flowers, and I am bringing in the Layering Leaves stamp set. And so if you don't have this one, do find some greetings that will work. Generic greetings will be fabulous. I am also going to be using the bow punch. So find yourself even some just, leaf dies or other leaf punches that you have. It doesn't have to be the exact one. Oh, look, I found the dies for Lifetime of Love. Super cool, folks. Super, super cool. Okay, and then starting in June, we're going to upstyle our paper pumpkins the best there is. I'm thinking that people are going to start seeing these in the next few days. Well, maybe next week sometime, because, tomorrow is the last day to subscribe for the best there is. Now, the best there is, this kit coordinates with the Country Woods DSP. And it's no secret, I have this kit already. You might have heard me say it, but this is a cool kit. While it's masculine and it has Father's Day greetings in it, it goes in both directions. It's, it really is a nice, lovely kit. Okay, and the granddaddy of them all, the Country Woods Online Stamp Camp. Registration has started for this. We will be featuring the Country Woods Suite, so Country Birdhouse, Country Flowers. There's all kinds of awesomeness that's going to happen in that stamp camp. Remember, if you join and Stampin' Up, you get all those free in-color products, plus you'll get this PDF camp for free. And if you want to upgrade, you can. So, all right, let me put all of that aside. And let's get to the plan for today, which is to stamp some just charming cards. We're going to stamp something floral, something birthday-ish, and then something, it could be a wedding, it could be anyhow. So we're going to stamp some awesomeness today. So let me just set my kit aside. I want to keep my little sequins handy where I know where they are. And for this first project that I'm going to do, we're like, okay, does she know what she's doing? So in the Use It Up kit, I included a half sheet of lemon lime twist. Dacia says, can't wait for the camp. They're always awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have fun creating them, but the best part is being in the Zooms with you guys and hearing your comments and just having some fun and seeing what you're making. It's fun to get together. Okay, half sheet of lemon lime twist. I really, really like this color. And obviously all of the colors that we're using today are pulled from the DSP, the Masterfully Made DSP. And this is, if you are into bold colors, saturated colors, this is or was the pack of paper for you. We have used it before. We did do a class with it earlier in the year. But this is the piece we're going to use. And I'm going to trim this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 because I am going to this is bold and this is bold, but I'm going to knock this down. And I'm just going to cover the entire front of my card base with this DSP. So let's take it to 4 1/4. I like doing this. Do you guys do this? Do you ever just cover your entire card front with a piece of DSP? I just think it's kind of fun. Karen Absolutely. This is my birthday present for myself. Yay. And we are, yes, we will celebrate with you. Okay, I'm going to take off this top portion. Okay, so now it's 5.5, and you can save that because that could go inside if we wanted, and maybe we will do that. So let's just glue this. I'm going to hold off on gluing. The reason I'm going to hold off on gluing is because I haven't made the card yet, and you guys are going to help me, and we'll determine if we want to cover the whole thing or if we want to bring it in just a little bit. Stephanie, this DSP is called Masterfully Made, and it was just retired from last year's annual catalog. But I had a bunch of it, and since you're fairly new to Backstage Pass, not super new, but pretty new. Anyhow, I like to use up what's in my stash. So you are super welcome. Okay. All right. So we'll figure that one out. Now I've got some more papers here. Oh, you guys, check out this circle here. So one of the best things that I have ordered from the new catalog, these are the Spotlight on Nature dies. I only bought the dies. I did not buy the stamp set because I don't want so much stuff that it's, overwhelming. I want to make sure that I'm purchasing things that I know I'm going to use. And anyhow, so I would say one of my favorite and most used shapes on cards would be circles. And these are all circle dies. And they are really fun to work with. Stephanie says, using up stash is totally for me. Thank you. Jacqueline just got her circles, and she didn't order the stamp set either. Tandra, the dies are magnificent, my faves. Yes, I really, really like these. I like the radiating stitches. There's, kind of a floral motif. There's a dot, a punched hole and a line motif. It's just cool. So if you're looking to just kind of, give your basic dies shapes an upgrade, this would be a recommendation from me. And it looks like from Tandra and from Jacqueline and some others. Okay, so I've die cut a circle. It doesn't really matter what size this circle is, but this one just happens to be just under 2 3/4 inches across. And I have some white. And so let's start with one of these whites and let's do some stamping. Some stamping with some images from the stamp set here. And the first one I'm going to use, you can see I've used it a lot, is this cute little floral image. And I'm going to stamp it in Memento Black because I'm going to be coloring my images with blends. Besides circles being like my favorite shape to use on cards, blends are my favorite way to color. And I know I've asked you before, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? But since I can see the comments today, what are your favorites? Okay, so I like to really put this down in the corner, but I'm going to come up just a little bit, and you're going to see why, because I forgot to do it on a bunch of my others that I've already pre-stamped and die cut, so you don't have to see me doing that. Kathleen, these dies right here, these awesome circles, are called Spotlight on Nature. Let me just give you a quick look at that. Spotlight on Nature dies. So, Masterfully Made. Yeah, I think it was in the Gorgeously Made Sweet collection. Okay, so now this has a die shape, obviously, in the Filled with Fun. So now you'll find this bundle in the online exclusives. And so the reason I've left a gap here is because there's this little tab right here. Oops, that's not right. Am I saying the paper wrong? I might be saying it wrong. Let me know. I don't have an old catalog on hand, but I thought I looked it up. But, the brain is mush. It's not what it used to be. So now I'm going to die cut these cute little flowers out, and you'll see that what it does is it leaves a little tab behind here. so that now if you're stamping like the wagon or something, you can put these in and you have something to glue to. So that's what that little tab is for. And you're going to, you know, it'll just save you some time. So I've actually stamped this 3 times. Actually, I've stamped it about 6 times. I do. I have a whole bunch of them. But I think I'm only going to need 3. I might need a partial of a 4th. But so I'm going to stamp a bunch of those and die cut them. I've done them ahead because that's just going to take a long time and we don't need to sit there and watch me do that. But I am going to color these in. And I'm going to color them in. I'm going to use some Berry Burst. I'm going to use some Lucky Limeade or Lost Lagoon. So, excuse me. So Jacqueline, she doesn't have the wagon bundle, might use the crate bundle that carried over. Yes, you know, I think that crate bundle is even probably by the same artist. Maybe not, but it sure kind of looks like it. So I need to determine, do I want green leaves, like Lemon Lime Twist green leaves, or do we want Lost Lagoon leaves? So you guys let me know. But I'm going to do some Berry Burst centers on my flowers here. And I'm simply going to just color each one in. Just drawing the letter O for most of them. Okay. These are going to be really simple. And I'm going to leave the petals white. You can color them in, but I'm just going to do that just because it's just kind of fun to leave them white. So Jacqueline says lemon lime. Okay, our leaves are going to be lemon lime. Now, I'm just going to do, so I did an O to fill in all of these centers. Now I'm just going to do the letter C, or a portion of, on these circles, the centers. And so it gives it just a little bit, hopefully I can get that to focus. Come on. So you can see just a little bit of, you know, we've got just a little bit of blending going on, but I would say this is probably the simplest blending ever. Okay. I should have probably done these ahead of time. Okay, so now that we've kind of seen the new catalog, we're seeing people posting more. While I'm coloring, why don't you guys let me know, because I'm taking requests. So I don't have my calendar planned at all for July. I mean, June is planned, but nothing come July. So, like I said, I'm taking requests. If Jen Millette were here, she would say Mediterranean blooms. But what would be a class that you would like to see? Kim is popping on. She's over there in England. For us, it's good morning. For Kim, it's good afternoon. What's up, girlfriend? Jacqueline says Mediterranean blooms. Awesome. Hello, Kim. Yes. Okay, so we're going lemon lime twist here for our leaves. By request of Jacqueline, I'm going to start with the light. Karen says, yes, Mediterranean. Okay, so I do have Mediterranean blooms. Okay, so I'm just coming in. And, you know, I just really love the fresh, bright, invigorating colors of, you know, with lemon lime and Berry Burst and white. I just think it's just, there's something cheerful, you know, there's a joy in this color scheme here. So thank you, Jacqueline, for pushing us in this color. And the retro TV set. Okay, that's called Tuned In. You know what, you guys? I have that. And I do have some visions in my mind with that. And so Kim says, that this is a cute set. It scared her at first, but once it's fun to play. Well, Kim did some awesome stuff with this. She turned the wagon rails into a tabletop and into planter boxes. So she was really thinking outside the box when she was using this, which I always have a great appreciation for. Finding other uses for dies and things. Okay, so those are just getting a little lemon lime twist. Let's get this last one done. Oh, that TV. Oh, I think the TV one could be fun. It might not be for everyone, but I can see, you know, putting like small pictures inside the TV, you know, for somebody's birthday or something. I think it could be kind of cool, kind of fun. So as I finish coloring these little flowers here, the leaves of the flowers, I'm going to come in and I'm going to take my dark lemon lime and I'm just going to color the bottom half of each leaf, giving these leaves a two-tone effect. I mean, it's not something like that really pops out at you, but it does add just a little bit of dimension. Oh, Suzanne is popping on or filling the TV with flowers or hearts or, yeah. You could even have stuff coming out of the TV and be really crazy. Hey, yeah. Trying to figure out why you cannot leave a comment. Hey, your comments here, they're showing up now, Jolinda. And I can see them today. Woohoo! Okay, just coloring these in. Just the bottom halves. Sorry it's taking me so long. My plan with these leaves is I'm going to create a real simple wreath around or from behind the circle there. The circle from the Spotlight on Nature dies. Okay, leaves are done. I'm liking that they are the lemon lime. Suzanne, this stamp set is called Filled with Fun. And so this is what I'm using today to use up my Masterfully Made DSP. Okay, so this piece of white is going to be for the inside of the card. This I'll show you in a second. But here's what I'm thinking. So, is I'm going to stamp my greeting. Okay, it's going to stamp my greeting and it's going to go here. And then behind this, I'm going to tuck, and we'll see how many it's going to take, and just do a fun little, and I might need, I don't know, I might need to trim some of this tab away. So let me do that on a couple of these. So I'm just going to kind of follow the line and then just sneak it inward. Let me do that on all of these ends because this is kind of going to be the end that's going to stick out. And I might need the piece of one more, and I have that stamped and die cut already, to get myself all the way around. Okay. But just something like that. I think it's kind of sweet. It's a little bit different. Kind of a quick and easy look. And just maneuver these, get them the direction you want to go. If I add a fourth, I really don't think it needs a fourth, but I do have some ribbon here that we're using up. This is some of the ribbon that was part of the Zany Zoo Suite collection. There was some petal pink and then this thin lemon lime. So my thought was, let's, before we do my thought, let's just decide, do we want to do the piece of DSP fully covering the lemon lime twist base, or do we want to show some of that lemon lime? Let me know, because I'm about there right now. And I'm actually going to tie this around the card and have the bow sticking out on this side. So let me know, should I trim it or keep it full? My inclination is to keep it full. So we need some speed demon fingers going here. And first, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to just grab a scrap of white. Jacqueline says fully. Kathleen says show. Karen says full. Okay, so we have 2 for full. So we'll keep it full. We'll keep it full. The next one, we'll have Kathleen let us know. You know, I just unplugged this. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Okay, let's go for just a whole new, nothing better than a full bottle of glue, right? That I won't even have to unclog. The other one's pretty empty. I think that's why. Okay, so there's my glue. Do it this direction. And there's that. Now I can bring my ribbon around. It's long enough to come in here. I think I have plenty. Now, I could have sandwiched it in between, but I don't mind that it shows on the inside. But you do you. I mean, do you like the ribbon to show on the inside, or do you like it to be hidden? The one nice thing about it being on the inside is if you haven't fully decided like what your plan is going to be, you can move it up and down, because I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put this ribbon. If it's going to go right where I was thinking, or if I have to move it higher or lower. We'll see. So this is where somebody else's finger would really help, but that's pretty tight. Pretty good. Okay. Oh, and Stephanie said show the lemon lime. Okay, so we had 2 for show, and okay. And Tandra's like, she doesn't mind if it shows. Okay. So I've got a twist in here, but we'll just kind of put the twist underneath, and then you'll never even know. Okay, so we're just kind of going to do something like this. And so now this big, bold, crazy piece of DSP, we're kind of taming it down, and it's not quite so wild. Next time for the show. That's right. That's right. I agree. Okay. So there's our wreath. And now for our greeting, I'm thinking of using You Make My Heart Bloom. It is one of the greetings in the stamp set. And I'm going to tape off the You Make and then the word bloom. We're just going to tape those right off. So cover that. Yeah, you know, a wreath is always kind of a fun look, right? And there's always a way to kind of figure out how to make one. So this is just plain old Scotch tape. You could use Post-it notes or whatever you have on hand. And so my ink color for this card is black, so I'm just going to stick with it. And I'm inking up the My Heart. And you know what? Before I ink that up, was I going to... Nope, I'm fine with it. I'm just going to, nope, I am. Sorry, I'm wishy-washy. Okay, hold on. I'm going to trim this down, and I think I'm going to trim it down. Let me tell you why I'm going to trim it down. I'm going to be using the Happy Labels punch, and I'm going to use, I can use either one. Maybe I'll use this one for this. But I think I'm going to do 3/4. So you can do 1 inch, 3/4, and 1/2 inch wide. I like these kind of pick-a-punch sort of approaches to things. We've had several of them. So I need my piece here to be 3/4 of an inch. Should be plenty big for the center for the My Heart. Okay, just making sure it's good and inked up. And then we'll take the tape away, maybe. Oh, why did I put it on the block so tight? Holy moly. That was not fun. Okay, This side hopefully comes off a little easier. Always pull off the one you put on first, and that should pull everything else up and off. Okay, but I just put my fingers right through it, so that's what pants are for, right? Okay, I'm gonna give a little huff on the My Heart, and I'm just gonna stamp it over here on the one side. It should be plenty. And I caught a little edge right there, but that is okay because I'm gonna punch that off. Okay, let's get that out of the way. So let's do the more ticket style for this one, because I'm gonna use this label punch again in a minute. Okay, let's just slip that in there. Now you wanna make sure they're straight. If they're not straight, the punch looks terrible. So there's one end. Let me trim this end off. And by the way, this is a little scrap of fresh freesia. Hopefully that punches away. If not, character, handmade. Oh, it's too short. Okay, so when it's too short, I usually use like a Post-it note to hold it in place. But you know what? I don't have a Post-it note, so I'm just gonna kind of jerry rig a little something here. I don't want that to be too sticky. So I'll wipe some of that off. You're like, what the heck is she doing? But watch this. Okay, we're just gonna stick that on there. Let me let it set up for just a second. You're like, ah! Okay, this is what I do when I'm creating. I don't know if you guys do the same sort of thing, but I'm like, oh, okay, it's too short, but I'm not gonna go cut another piece. Now I wanna get the You Make My and Bloom. And so we're just gonna stamp that here on the paper. Okay, cute greeting, cute greeting. I like stuff like that. Before I cut them out, I'm gonna use, I think let's use some fresh freesia. Should we use fresh freesia? It barely shows. So maybe I'm gonna go back to the lemon lime twist. So with the lemon lime twist, and I'm gonna use the light lemon lime twist, I'm gonna color in any of the letters that are enclosed. So it's gonna be, and we've already got the My Heart, so we don't need that. Okay, just a little way to add a little bit of added character and dimension. And I'm going to cut these out. So just come right in there and trim them out. I do this little type of look every now and again. I don't do it very often though, but I do like the way it looks. Trimming up and rearranging things. Whoops, I got that one a little close. That's okay. Okay, so we'll have You Make, and then I'm gonna trim the My Heart. Okay, see if we can makeshift our tag in there. And I think we can do it. Look at that, folks. I managed. I got there the hard way, but I salvaged it. So I'm going to do something along the lines of this. And we'll put that to the inside. Now, you know, do we want to do just kind of, you know, this is kind of the design process for me. Do I want to do the flowers underneath the ribbon and then carry the ribbon on top of the circle? Of course, I'm going to have to get rid of the twist and put our stuff this way, which is I kind of like that, the way it incorporates that coming across. Gives it just a little bit more, you know. It's going to be tricky though, to get my wreath in there. So, you're loving my thought process. So Kim, you missed why we're doing a thought process, and that is because I got behind in my week, and I usually get more done during the week because I was tending to puppies. So anyhow, let's at least get this going here. We know we're going to put dimensionals on this layer here. And I do think I'm going to have my ribbon come across, but I'm going to do my ribbon afterwards because I'm going to put that ribbon on top of the circle. So, but let's go ahead and let's work on creating our wreath. And if you remember, I trimmed off this side over here. So that is the side that's always going to be on top. So I'm going to kind of bring this in. And then we'll bring another one. So I'm going to layer that one on top of that tab, just to kind of cover that, and angle that in. And then once we kind of get these where we want them, we'll start gluing them in place. Okay, and then this one has to angle in. Okay, so I think I'm just going to, let's just kind of glue this one so I know it's going from that flower. Okay, from that stem of that flower. So just a little bit of glue right here should do it. Okay. And now we'll bring another one in here. Okay. And one more. It really helped to have that one anchored down. Okay, this one can come over a little bit more. So it's almost the same way of gluing. What if you cut each flower set in half so some of the flowers aren't so low? Oh, okay, I'm loving that idea. Here we go. Okay, so, okay. Thank you. Whoops. So new glue, and it's just coming out way too much there. You know, it's easier to handle too. And I do like some low. I like that, but some of them got too low. But yeah, it allows us to open up a little bit. And so now, because you can see where I trimmed, I do want to clean that up. You don't have to. But it's the type of thing that, you know, if you notice it, just go ahead and quickly give it a quick fix. We'll put a little glue here. Okay, cool. Now I'm feeling like, well, maybe that's where we'll put the bow. Okay, there's that one. And let's do the same thing. I could cut here again, or I could cut right there too. And that would give us a little bit of a different look. But let's just come in right up through there. And clean this one up. Okay. And are we going to get all the way around? We're going to need just, maybe we'll put that down towards the bottom. Well, I think I'm going to have to tighten this one a little bit, because now they're sticking out too far. Okay, I just wiggled a little, not much. We'll bring this one around, but you know what? I'm going to trim a little bit more because it looks a little funky. Okay, just a little haircut there. Now, I'm just going to try and stretch this around just a little further. See if we can't get all that we can out of that. We're close. We're not quite there, but I think if we go like so, we can bring the bow right in there. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Thank you for the tips. I love it. It's fun creating together. Okay. Just kind of snipping that over my little trash can. Okay. This one, Kind of bring that one right in there. And this one's coming in. And you know what, folks? We're gonna just grab just a little bit more. And I know these aren't colored in, but I can color them in later. I need just one more little section. And so when I am creating with a bundle for the first time, I have, and I'll show you what I've got going on, is I just kind of have my little dishes here where I have stuff already kind of cut out and in the colors that I'm thinking, and then I just start playing with them a little bit. Okay. So our wreath has gotten a little bigger. It's grown a skosh, but that's great. Let's put these in. Okay. Tuck this one down and inside. I think I'm going to come on the outside, though, of that. It's actually, maybe not. It's glued like a mama. And then this piece will go right in there. Yeah. And I think we're going to go that direction because that's where, sometimes you can just look at something and instinctively feel where the top is, where it's more natural. And that's kind of what if I go right in there, we come this way, then my bow can go right in there. And then we can even kind of turn things and play with it a little bit. Oops. This one didn't glue. You never got the notification that I was on. So Kayleen, I'm glad you brought that up. You will get a notification only if you've clicked going. So if you click going, then Facebook will send you that reminder. Okay, let's put this on with dimensionals. Okay. Ta-da. I'm going to kind of go this way. And I do want it to be off center a little bit. Or do we want, yeah, no, I like it off center. I'm even liking it coming off the page a little. Okay. Now, here we go. Tie the bow one more time. Okay, and I am going to wiggle it into place. I'm just trying to get my ends so that they're fairly even. Bring this over to here. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, you think you usually, yeah, I think you probably do too, but. Okay, so here goes my bow action. Yeah, see, I kind of like it on top. It's a little bit different, but we'll just kind of wiggle it right up in there. A little added decor, right? And now the greeting. I'm going to set this one kind of right on top there. Okay. And turn that just a little bit. I haven't seen your flight, Kayleen, but I'll look at it. Yesterday we had a birthday party, so I've been I was working on wrapping presents, making food, and then partying. So yesterday was kind of a crazy day. So something a little different. I feel like I do need one more flower tucked in there. And so what happened to that piece that I cut? Here it is. So if you feel like you need just a little bit more, You know, I'm just going to come in here. And we'll kind of fill that spot right in there. Yeah. And I'm hitting a dimensional right now, so let me just trim that down a little bit. We'll just kind of tuck in there. Yeah, that rounds it out just a little bit more. So keeping it fairly clean and simple, totally different. Let me do just a little bit of action on this to bring this to life just a little bit. It's feeling a little too white for me. And so when something like that feels a little too white, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and there is, oh nope, we've hidden all of our, we've hidden all of the fresh freesia on there. So I'm going to come in with some lemon lime twist, and I'm just going to use my bone folder to just do a little bit of splattering around. And I usually like to do this with a couple colors, but I also like to rotate the direction of my project so that it kind of changes the splatters. It fills it different. So anyhow, maybe a little bigger on the bow here, just to kind of really fill that space. And let me add this one in, and I'll color it as well later before I take a picture of it. But I'm going to tuck this one right down in there to fill that spot. Yeah, cute. And we have some gems. They aren't gems, they are sequins. So let's just put several of these on. Use my scissors here. So let's just do let's tuck one there. And here, let's do another small and fill that out. And then we'll put one right up in there. Kind of like so. Kind of hide that one as well. There you go. Something a little bit different than what I would normally do. But I kind of like, thinking a little bit more outside of my, what I would typically do. So anyhow, kind of fun. I feel like maybe I could have moved it down a little bit, but hey, we're creating on the fly today. All right, so next up, I really want to color that center. I'm going to do it just to see if it fills it out just a little bit more. And it does. It's kind of finishing this wreath, and it's such an easy color. Oh, another thing that I would do is on this particular card is I would come in, and it's amazing what it does do, is give, and oh my gosh, you guys, I didn't invite her to the party. You've got to be kidding. Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella on these white, these little white flowers and whatnot are going to actually add some color, because there is some color to Wink of Stella. And so that would kind of finish that up kind of fun. So there you have it. We'll get that photoed in just a little bit. Now, I know what I was going to do. I had a piece of paper for the inside of the card, and keeping it super simple, I think what I want to do, because I do want to put a piece of white in the center there, is I am going to take the flower piece and just do real easy. Let's just do a little garden action here right across the bottom. Okay. And of course we would color those in with the same colors that we used on the outside of the card, but you don't need to sit and wait for all that. So, but you'll get the idea. I'm going to go ahead, and that would then go to the inside and give this back half of the card the weight that it needs. Kayleen, this stamp set is filled with fun. So, what party do you need to cancel? All right, so there is that. And I'm going to finish that up before I take a picture of it later. And let's move on to my next idea. And my next idea, we're still working with the same paper. So I've got this. This is kind of another version of that paper you just saw. And so it's like, wow. And this side is kind of loud and crazy too. But how to use this. And so I have a piece of Pretty Peacock. It's a half sheet, just a normal old card. And let's see, I have some white that I'm going to stamp on. But I also have some white that I have pre-cut. And so this piece, and I've been liking this. Oh, Jacqueline, now I get it. Stella is not coming to the party. She couldn't make it today. She had another appearance. Yeah, but it really does, because I will go in and do it, and you'll see the difference. Okay, so this piece here, I've been using this measurement quite a bit. 3.5 by 4 3/4. I just kind of like the way it fills this, but it leaves me with a little bit more Pretty Peacock or whatever color we're using. It allows for more of that to show, which is kind of what Stephanie and Kathleen wanted in that first card. So we're going to have some showing on this, but I'm actually going to take this crazy piece of paper and look at this. We're just going to cover it, and obviously I'm going to trim it. We're just going to have a little bit of it showing, okay? And so it's just kind of one of those ways of creating a background paper, a cool layer, a matte that gives us color without having this crazy, crazy pattern, which this is fun. It's pretty, but it's a little bit intense. So this is 3.5 by 4 3/4. And so I think I'm going to cut this piece to be 3, and if I want it just a little bit smaller, but let's do 3 3/4 for our width, and let's do it by 5 inches. So it's 1/4 inch bigger. That's going to give us an 1/8 inch mat all the way around, and that might be a little heavy on my mat, but let's see. That looks pretty good. So I said that this paper was kind of intense, and it made me think of Finn, my grandson. He's 3. He's been learning how to tell jokes. And he has this joke that he tells, and he says, "Did you hear about the fire at the circus?" And then he always gives the punchline a little too soon, but he does it, and he kind of like, he's got good delivery, folks. But did you hear about the fire at the circus? It was intense. Funny little dude. Okay, so I am going to glue this to my layer. Finn, this is a funny dude. Okay. So here is the base to my card, and this is going to be a birthday card. And for this card, my goal here is to not use, we will use the wagon, because to me that's the star of the show. But my purpose with a couple of these cards today was looking outside of the box and not going quite so right to the star of the show, right? Let some of those other pieces play front and center. Okay, so there's the base of things. Now I want to do some stamping. So here's some white, and I'm going to use the colors that are in here that we've been seeing. So we've got Berry Burst, Pretty Peacock, Lemon Lime Twist, and well, Lost Lagoon is barely showing, but let's bring in some Lost Lagoon as well. And let's have some fun. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to take a little piece of this, and I'm going to slice off a 1-inch piece so that I can make a greeting. And I'm going to use that same Happy Labels punch. I think it's called Happy Labels Pick a Punch, because you get to pick which end you use. and which dimension you're going to use. But let's go ahead and stamp our greeting first. And the greeting that I want to use is celebrating somebody special, someone special. Okay. And so let me do this. Oh, nope, wrong color. No, black. My mind, I want this to be, let me stamp this off. I want this to be Pretty Peacock. So Pretty Peacock is going to be my my greeting color. And you know that I like to do my greeting color with my darkest color that's in the palette of my inks. I typically will do that, not always. Okay. Gave it a quick clean. Let's use Pretty Peacock. Because as I was looking at the paper, I'm like, that's not what I had planned in my mind. But remember, these are all in my mind. Okay. So, and I'm going to trim that off so it's the same length on each end. We'll put Pretty Peacock aside here for a second. Let's trim that off. I can kind of see it's a little wet still, because it got re-inked. Gonna have to wait for that to dry. Okay, well, while we're waiting for that to dry, let's stamp some other pieces, because there are some cute elements in this stamp set. This one being my absolute favorite is this little banner. Okay, banner going straight across, and I'm just gonna stamp this banner in just about every color that we're putting on this card. So let me start with Lemon Lime Twist. So we want a banner in Lemon Lime Twist. And we're going to want one in Lost Lagoon. I'm just going to kind of fill my paper in here. And we'll want one in Berry Burst. Okay. I really like Berry Burst. I'm glad they brought it back last year. So there's Berry Burst. Trying to think if I need one more color. Well, let's leave it at that. And so in the stash of, whoops, oh, I just dropped a whole bunch of things. But anyway, in the pack here, look at, they have a die, so you don't have to fussy cut that. There is a die that will cut those out, and I've done those ahead of time. And I also want some balloons, and so there is a balloon image in the set, and so I'm going to do the same thing I just did, and I'm going to have a lemon lime. I'm going to give that a huff and just do a second generation. Same thing with Lost Lagoon. Give it a huff for that second generation. Now I will clean in between the Lost Lagoon and the Berry Burst. Okay, and so we're going to need to die cut all of these out. And so sure enough, there is a die for the balloon. In fact, I think you have 2 balloons in here. You do. So you can be cutting those. Oh, there's the heart die. There's something missing in my plan for that card before. I'm going to go back to the heart die in a minute. So we have that. Okay, so we have all of those. So we're going to need to die cut all of these, but I've done that all ahead of time. You're not going to have to sit and watch all that or wait for all that. So I have just a bunch of pieces to play with. There's another really cool stamp in this kit, or this bundle rather, and it's this string. And so let me just kind of show you what the string looks like. And I'm not going to, there it is. And there is a die in the set here, but this die is not intended to cut that out, okay? That would be impossible to line up. This is just a die. If you want a string, you can cut one. You can die cut one in any color that you want, okay? So that's that. But we're going to come to the string in just a minute here. So I just wanted to bring it forward. Sometimes they think, oh, well, wait, the string doesn't fit right, or how do you do it? It's because they coordinate. They go together. They're not necessarily intended to match and die cut. Okay, so let me put these away so I don't lose them. Okay, I'm gonna keep that heart out. And you know what? We're just gonna backtrack for a second because I forgot about this. Let's see if I can find them here. I die cut myself, or I stamped, because there is a heart image. Okay, my goal is to show you the heart, all the stamps and all the dies. There are a few times when I don't get to all of them, but I have these hearts, and my intention, I'm like, why does that feel like it's not filled out enough? Is these hearts were supposed to come in here. And we were going to have some hearts in here. So, you know, or maybe over here, or maybe they tuck behind. Anyways, so there were some hearts to be had to kind of fill that out a little bit. So you will have to be surprised to see how that's going to finish out when I finally get it photographed. Okay, so here we go. Now, these are all die cut, pretend. And this piece here, we're going to just trim it now that I feel like it has dried. I just recently juiced up my Pretty Peacock ink pad, so it was a little juicy. Okay, so I'm just kind of trimming this off. I'm eyeballing, I'm not measuring, that I'm pretty even from end to end. And now I can use that same Happy Labels, but this time I'm going to use this one over here. And so notice that the last time we used it, it was a 3/4 inch wide strip. This strip is 1 inch. I'm making sure it's in there straight. Cuteness, you guys. I just think this is, I got this last year and I've never really used it all that much. But I'm like, why not? This is a fabulous tool. Look how cool. Okay, so there's my banner. And now, basically, I just want to create a party on this page here. And we might be stamping some more of the balloons. We could also stamp the confetti. There is a confetti piece here. However, every time I've stamped with the confetti, it's kind of looked weird. So we're gonna try it again because I was kind of practicing yesterday before I actually put all of my thoughts together. This is fresh freesia. We do have a little bit of it peeking through. This is a lighter color. So I'm just gonna kind of throw a little bit of confetti up in the air here because this is a cute image. But have you ever done something and you went, oh, I just took it too far? And so that's where I'm challenged with this type of an image, is I'll sometimes just take it too far, too much. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna do is just kind of throw a little confetti up in the air in hopes of not ruining things. I'm gonna put my greeting on dimensionals. Kind of a no-brainer, right? And then we're probably going to need some mini dimensionals in here for some of these these garlands and whatnot. So, man, I've got something streaking across here. I'm not quite sure what that is. Oh, I don't know what it was, but it just wiped off nice and easy. Okay, let me move some of these stamps out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. So here's my thought process on this one is I'm gonna kind of shift that off to the side. I do have some, this isn't Pretty Peacock. This is actually the Tahitian Tide metallic ribbon that was from the In Colors. This, you know, so there were the other colors. But I've always felt that this Tahitian Tide was way too dark for Tahitian Tide, and it looks better with Pretty Peacock. So let's see here. My plan, I was going to actually put this, I was going to put it around just the white. Oh, well, we're going to have more ribbon than what we need. So let's just plan B it. That's what happens when you don't have something that you're following, right? Okay. So I was going to do something, just kind of starting the party action like that. Obviously, we're not going to use all of that. But then just bringing in and just start adding. Now, some of these balloons I'm going to put on with a dimensional. And some I'll put on the card with just glue so that we get some layer actions happening, right? So let me just grab a few here. So what I have to do is kind of work in reverse here. So I'm going to just kind of lay some of these out. Now I don't want to put my berry burst right by my berry burst. And that's another berry burst. But let's do one of these up in here. Kind of get some of this. So we've got some balloon action happening. We're just going to have balloons everywhere, confetti everywhere. And then maybe, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not, maybe I will stamp the strings. But just having some fun, putting a party on the page here. Something kind of like, you know, do I need another balloon? Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I like that these balloons, I'm going to kind of work in reverse here. I'm going to glue this balloon. Ooh, that's kind of scary. Gluing a balloon. Because glue is a little different. A dimensional, you can kind of move it around, right? It's a party on a card front. So I'm going to do this balloon, this lemon lime balloon right there. Okay. And then we'll do another one. I'm going to do it, just scooch it a little higher. And then I'm going to put this one right in there, just a little bit higher. Okay. And then this was going to come across. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimensional the ends, and then the balloon will help support it in the middle. Yes, Jacqueline, that's why you use glue dots. Yep. Okay, so we'll go right there. So look at that. That just kind of holds that in place. And now I think I'll do another balloon that's kind of going to hold this one up. And see, I don't want it to be like right in the center. I do want to kind of keep things a little bit off center. But let's just kind of layer these in. I do like using dimensionals because Verena Shapiro, I saw her one time just go in there, and you've seen me do it now. She just goes in there and cuts them apart. And I'm like, that is the smartest thing ever. And it totally works. So I think I want this one a little bit, I think I want it a little bit lower. And so maybe it's going to kind of originate. It's kind of going behind this balloon. I can't get it there. Or do I want it? No, I kind of like it up here. It's got it's more party-ish. So we're going to put it up there, but I'm not going to do it at the same angle. Do it a little bit shallower. And then we'll reach this one up in here. And then we'll do another one kind of down a little lower. I'm covering all my confetti. And I feel like we need to put the greeting in here sooner rather than later, or we're going to get kind of maybe another balloon. Let's do another balloon right there. Okay, that one's just going to kind of be hiding behind there. However, it's knocking into my dimensional on my tag. There we go. Now, my ribbon here, I'm not quite sure, because see, I had wanted to tie it around. Okay, you guys need to help me with my ribbon placement. Okay, well, we don't want a dimensional cover on the card. Okay, so let's put some dimensionals on this. That's a dimensional cover. Oh, come on. Okay, there we have it. Messiest dimensional underneath. Underneath, just like that. Okay, I'm going with your recommendation. So then I need to kind of do it now because that's kind of where we're at this point. So glue dot action. Right about there. It's kind of where the center of that knot is happening. And we'll just add that right like that. And we'll take this one, get all these things kind of out of my way here. Okay. And because I like this metallic, I think it adds a kind of a fun, it has a party vibe, if you know what I mean. So last night we had a SpongeBob themed party. It was fun. Okay, there's that. See, I'm like dying to put some Wink of Stella on this so that it has all the sparkle and glitz that I'm going to do it because I'm just kind of, but that is the last. I just tossed the little ends away. That is the last of my Tahitian Tide ribbon there. Okay, so let's finish this party out and let's do something. We'll kind of maybe originate that one right in there. And bring it across to here. And I have adhesive right there. Great thing to have that adhesive remover around. You think this is a fun one? I think it's kind of fun. It's different. It's different. Okay, or do I want the balloons on? Ooh, yeah, maybe a balloon on top this time. And let's just kind of do another one right in there. See what we need here. I've got these two kind of fighting. Here's a freesia. Yeah, let's do a freesia. Of course, I've just now stolen this from my next project, but that's okay. I got plenty of paper. I can stamp more, right? So, just kind of maybe right in. I'm like trying to decide. Yeah, no, definitely kind of over in here. And now for strings. Do we put some strings on all of these? I'm going to wait on that one. I don't think I need it. Okay, so now for the strings, you can, we could stamp some of them, or we could die cut. I think I'm going to die cut just because, I mean, I like the look of it being stamped. And look, we've lost our confetti. So I probably should have lifted that and done a little more confetti right in there with the fresh freesia. And I probably will but I'm not going to do it right now. But before I take a picture, just because, I mean, those are dimensional, so I can easily pop that up and add those in there. But let's see about adding some strings to this. So we could do one of two things. We can add the die cut strings, and that way we can just kind of have some coming down here and there. And it would kind of flush this out and finish it. But it's like, what color should the strings be? You know, should they be berry burst? Let's see here. You know what we can try? Let's try this. So from our Masterfully Made DSP, what's the color on that one? Well, that might be interesting. But I was hoping to find some kind of a berry color. Let's go right in here and let's just cut apart some of our DSP. And I have that color, and then there's this big old scrap left too. Let's just see. So I know we're cutting right into the middle of this piece, but that's okay. I'm just gonna cut a section of this, just like that, so that I can run this through. I have my mini cut and emboss machine. And this may be a card that we don't put all of the strings on just now, but come photo time, it will have all of its strings. That way you don't have to sit here and watch. But this could be cute with the DSP, or it could be a wreck. So it may need to be just like a solid piece of Lost Lagoon, or maybe Lemon Lime Twist. But let's see what we've got going here. But look how cute this is. And it's these strings that are just going to kind of add that party vibe. I had a bride quite a while ago that said she wanted to capture, do you remember the party scene at the end of Footloose, where all that confetti's coming down and everything? So this is kind of like that effect. We're trying to get, you know, and it's just going to create kind of that. And you know, it doesn't even have to actually originate at a balloon, but I'm trying to get one right up in there. But as these come down, and I'm kind of thinking I like this strong colored, you know, it's called Use It Up for exactly that. Cut wherever you want. Oh, I like that attitude. Yeah, just cut right into the middle of that piece. But look how cute this is. And I think we could actually even do several colors here. I mean, since we have the DSP, but as we start to add that and add more of these strings, where's that? This piece right here. So this was the leftover from that first card we did. I think this Lemon Lime Twist is going to be good too. So then if that's the case, then I'm going to want to find some Lost Lagoon, which there's definitely some in this DSP. And we'll just get a bunch of strings on there to create our party. Party on a card. Oh, that's never going to work going in that crooked. Okay, here we go. It's going to be the strings. It's kind of like Wink of Stella. It's going to be that last finishing touch that just finishes it and makes it extra special. Okay. So, what's it like? Because see, the thing, of course I'm hitting, you know, hitting a card in there. But look, we can even do this. Just chop this guy right in half. Kind of get one for this guy. Right in there. So it's there, but then it's continuing down here, if you know what I mean. Okay. Yes. By the time we get all of these on, this is going to be such a cute card. But you're going to have to wait until I'll get it finished, and we'll finish that up, add more of the strings to get this party happening. And of course, it's going to get some Wink of Stella, and I think it's going to be cute. What do you think? What do you think? It's a party on a page. Okay. So, keep these handy. Put this back in here so I know exactly where it is so that I can come back and finish those strings. And it's going to be fun. Okay, so that one, you're going to see the finished product later on. Like I say, I've never done a class this way before, but there's always a first, right? All right, this last card here, I'm going to do a variation on a card that I've enjoyed making. And I'm going to be using up more of the Masterfully Made DSP. So I'm going to use these two sides. We're kind of going with a Berry Burst, Fresh Freesia, Bubble Bath, Lemon Lime Twist. We're just going to throw some colors in here. Thanks, Stephanie. Okay, so I've got a thick basic white card base here. And I've got some white that I can stamp on. And I'm going to use, just like we did on that last card, I'm going to use this very bold, vivacious paper. We're going to get this paper going the right direction as a mat for another layer here. Just giving us, that tiny bit of coolness. And I think I'm going to do very close to the same measurements that we just did. And so this one, the last card we did was 3.5 by 4 3/4. I'm going to go, instead of 3.5, I'm going to do 1/16 past 3.5. So, and then, so if it's 4 3/4, I'm going to do 1/16 past 4 3/4. So I'm just making this layer a little bit bigger, and I'm going to do the same measurement that I did on that other card where it was, I'm going to do it at 3 3/4. So we're going to have just a little bit of a tighter mat on this card than on the last card, which, I've said that I've been liking to do that lately. And this is going to be by 5, okay? And so this is a scrap that I had left. By the way, if you have a Use It Up kit, you do have all these pieces of paper. Look at that one, so cool. But I was kind of in a different color palette today, so I didn't really go into the Misty Moonlight that's part of this DSP. Okay, so here we go. Layering this on, just a little bit of green cap glue so that I can wiggle it around. And so I like this tighter mat rather than that 1/8 inch all the way around. I like it being a little bit tighter. And so this, now there is text to this print. You might want to make sure that it is upright. And so that will be right there. So here we've got that mat, our card base showing for this card as we did the last one, but not the first one. Okay, here we go. So this is easy right through here, right? So this is just kind of going to base us in. And now I'm going to bring in, so this is one of those circles from the Spotlight on Nature. I don't even know how many dies it is. Is it 10? It's either 8 or 10 circles of all different sizes. But so here you can kind of see the leaf motif on this one. And that's going to come in here. And the first thing that I want to do with this one is to stamp the greeting, because it's the greeting that's going to kind of help direct me where I'm going to be placing items. Okay. So greeting wise, maybe we don't have it on a block just yet. I want the Sending Loads of Happiness. Yep, it's not on a block yet. Okay, so Sending Loads of Happiness. Okay, we don't need the flowers anymore. So I'm going to take that off. Okay, and I'm going to use black for this. So I'm going to be stamping in black and coloring in a nice palette of blends. So I am using the Memento. And this greeting, I'm just going to kind of put it, make sure I got enough on there, right almost across the middle. I'm a little bit higher, but not by much. Just want to really get a good impression. Cute. Great greeting. Sending loads of happiness. Because this could be for a bridal shower. It could be for, a graduation. It really has, it could be birthday. It's open-ended, and you can really kind of send it home. Okay, so now on our paper here, we've got some stamping to do. And I want to stamp my favorite image in this entire stamp set is this one right here. I just love this. It's a party in a wagon, right? So this image here. And just like we did on that first card, we're gonna leave enough for the little tab that's on that. And I'm going to stamp this 2 more times, but let me show you how I'm gonna stamp it. Let me bring my scratch paper in. Basically what I want to do is just stamp it so that I'm just grabbing the flag, okay? So let me get it to where I'm just getting the flag. So there's 1, okay? And let me clean this off because I'm gonna get 1 more in there, but I don't want to. Does your chamois look like mine? Let me cover this just in case. Just in case there's a little bleed through. Okay, perfect. I know the rest of it doesn't look good, but it's fine. Absolutely fine. Because what I'm gonna do is there is a die cut for this. And we're gonna die cut this, this, and this. So here is the die. You grab the right one. So here's the die. Just like that. So we'll die cut that one. It's a really easy one to do. And so let's see here. I have one done ahead of time. And I have another one. I had 2 full ones. And then I've done a partial. Okay. So I'm actually going to clip the flag out of this one. So you've seen me do this before, but come in here and die cut this one first. If you die cut this one, you're going to end up ruining that flag, right? So die cut that one. Okay. You just want that part and then die cut that. So you want all 3 of those pieces. You have some more die cutting to do. Let's do a little more stamping. I'm going to stamp with Berry Burst. And let's see, let's pull this greeting off of the block and bring in the wagon. This wagon is so cute. Okay, so here's the wagon. So kind of a riff on a radio flyer, on a red one. So instead of just a red wagon, we're going to do a Berry Burst. I'm going to stamp off. I'm going to let the weight of the block remove some ink. So it gives me just a different looking stamp off. It's going to give me some deeper Berry Burst and some lighter. Okay, so it just kind of gives maybe a patina to the wagon. So there's that. So we'll need to die cut that. The wheels. There's a stamp for the wheels. Let me put this one on a block here. You're going to need 2 wheels. We'll share that same block right there. And I'm going to do these in black. Just like that. Easy, easy. I like the look on it too, Kayleen. I think it just looks kind of cool. And it's such an easy stamping technique that it's like, how did you do that? And you're like, it's crazy. So easy. So easy. Okay, so there's a die for the wagon. It's in here. And there are 2 wheels, actually. I'll just pull out one for now. Are there 2 wheels? I thought there were. Okay, there's a wheel. There might only be one. And for this card, I could stamp the handle, but I'm not going to. There is a handle for the wagon. There is a die for the wagon, but not in my pack. I lost it at my mom's house. It's gone. I tried to find it while I was there, but I'm like, I am not going through that big old trash can. I just said, I can cut it out with scissors. So anyhow, that's what you're going to die cut. But there's one more piece I want you to die cut. And this is such a charming piece in this set. And that is, these are the rails for the wagon. And I've cut these. Let's see, I've got one cut in, well, first off, here's my wagon wheels. Here's my wagon. And I've got one cut in DSP and one in white. But I think I'm going to go with the white one. But I'll keep this one out just to see. So here are all the pieces you need to stamp and have some fun with. And then you'll need to die cut all of those. I did them ahead so that, you know, you're not having to sit here and wait for me to do all that. And actually, I did just a little bit more stamping. So I want to stamp some more of the party action, which is, to me, the banners and the balloon. So let's stamp just a little bit more of that on here. And I'm going to be stamping with Fresh Freesia and Bubble Bath. Okay, so we're going to kind of bring in all of these colors for this card. And so, let's see here. Here's a Fresh Freesia banner. So there's my Fresh Freesia banner. And I'm going to stamp a Bubble Bath banner. Okay. Here goes Bubble Bath. And we're going to stamp one more banner. We're going to stamp it in Lemon Lime Twist. And I'm going to need to die cut this one out. Or maybe I can just repeat another color. No, I think I want the lemon lime. Just may have to die cut it though. So here goes lemon lime. So I kind of want to repeat all of the colors that I'm going to be using on coloring my things. And then 2 balloons. So I want a Freesia balloon. We're going to squish all of this in here. And I want a Bubble Bath balloon. Okay. Right like that. Okay, now I have all of the images stamped that I would like to have on my card here. I have all of them pre-die cut, so you don't have to sit and wait for all that. I'm closing these. Every pad I have out is open. So we're going to close up the pads so we don't wreck anything. And I do want this. This is the only thing I don't have die cut. So let me bring this one out. And we'll run this through the mini cut and emboss machine. Okay. Okay, let's get this mess out of the way. And let's run this one through. I do like for this one to use a piece of repositionable tape. Just because of the arc on this, it has a tendency to wiggle for some reason. At least it does for me. It might not for you, but okay. So just a little bit of a seat belt there, and it didn't touch the paper. She's goofy, for sure, for sure. Okay, we'll stick it there so it stays a little better. Run this one through, and then we're gonna lay this out. Snap, crackle, and pop of that machine. Okay. Now I have everything that I want, for sure, for sure. Put that away. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to get some coloring action happening because our focal for the card is actually going to be the elements right here of the presents, okay? So there's that. And our wagon is gonna come in here. So I'm casing myself from a card I've made before. This will come in here, and this is gonna have to go way up, okay? And then we're gonna have some party action happening. There's some more party action. More party. And we have a couple balloons here. It's supposed to be Fresh Freesia, but I used one of them on that other card, but that's okay. It's fine. And then I am going to put the rails on the wagon. I just don't know if I want the white ones or if we want the DSP ones. You'll have to tell me. So when we get there, you be thinking about that. Now, color-wise, we are going to be coloring this. And I'm going to separate, I want just the flag on this one. So I'm just chopping that flag right off because I want to put 3 flags in this wagon. Because 1 is good, but, you know, I really want to party it up. Okay. And just like that. Now I want to take out some of this. We don't want that. Okay, there's 1 flag. Let's do the same thing to this one. And we'll clip this one away. We'll color these. Okay, and we'll trim this one down. Okay, so to color these, I'm going to use blends, and we're going to use a little lemon lime twist and some berry burst, bubble bath. Are we using fresh freesia? Yes, and we're using it all. And we're going to pull in 1 more color, and that's going to be pecan pie. And so we're going to make a chocolate cake. That's why we've got some pecan pie in here. And so I'm just going to color not the dripping frosting and not the little white. Okay. Just like so for each layer. And I'm going to come in with dark pecan pie, and kind of add in some blended detail here. But let's get these layers going first. So there's the second layer of our cake. And now let's do this one. So have any of you had to replace any of your Stampin' Blends because you've just used them up? Just curious. I have. Okay, so I'm just doing a layer of dark pecan. I'm just going to pull it down just a little bit. So I'm just doing it right along the frosting edge. And then just kind of pulling it down here and there. And that will start to kind of really blend in. You've only had to buy 1 new one. Well, I killed my old olive. I mean, it is in such bad shape. And I've killed Daffodil Delight. And, I mean, that one's a mess. And I've recently ruined a couple others too. I'm like, oh boy. So a little bit of detail on that. Now I think I'm going to have, I could have bubble bath or freesia. I think I'm going to have freesia frosting. This is light freesia, I hope, yeah. And then I'm going to come in with the dark freesia and do some detail work on this frosting. You killed Crumb Cake, Pool Party, and Daffodil. You're the queen of replacements, Stephanie. Uh-oh. Daffodil for you. Just Daffodil. Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one that has, queen of replacements. That's funny. Okay, so I said I would add some detail. And so I'm following the lines, these little slash lines, kind of these little, and that's where I'm just, emphasizing them with my dark fresh freesia. Okay, just like that. Gives it a little extra zip. And now with bubble bath, that's dark bubble bath. I think the lids are wrong. Here's light bubble bath. I'm just going to give give myself, I just have a little bit of bubble bath in those little candles there. Come on, focus camera. There you go. All right, so now I want to color. I'm going to color, since my bubble bath is out, I'm going to color my flag here. And if I've left some white, I'm good with that. It just adds a little character. Just adding a little bit of bubble bath on there. And then I think I'm going to have, let's have a bubble bath box. And so is this light or dark? This is dark. I want light. And so this package is going to be bubble bath. So Stephanie, why are you the queen of replacements? You just used them up really well? Just curious. Okay. I've been trying to splatter more with the knocking on the barrel of the pen, and I think that's going to help save mine. But that's it for bubble bath that I'm going to do on this. Let's go to lemon lime twist. So is this lemon lime twist? Yes, here's light. I'm going to color this bow, lemon lime twist. Okay. There's light lemon lime twist. And while I have the light lemon lime twist out, I'm going to color this package as well. Let's just get some definite lemon lime in here because we have a lemon lime banner and we're going to have a lemon lime package. I just kind of want a third repetition. So we have the bow. I just want to make sure we have enough color of each one. Emphasis. Okay, so I'm just kind of adding a little detail in here with my dark lemon lime. Just little swooshes of it here and there to add a little character to the package. That's it for lemon lime for right now. And then let's move to more freesia here. And so I'm going to do a freesia bow. And this is dark. We want light first. And there's a little bit of that freesia right there. So Jacqueline, you mentioned you like this color combo. I never, ever, ever would have put these colors together if it hadn't been for the DSP. And I know I've said that before, but that's often the case is the DSP is taking me in a direction that's a little unexpected, but totally, there's something refreshing about it that, wouldn't normally happen, right? So, okay, this package, let me go back to my light. This package is going to be freesia. I mean, I like doing my own thing, but I also like being inspired by other things and taking myself in, in an unexpected kind of direction. Okay. So that's enough of the freesia. And now let's give this one a bow. And I'm going to give this one, let's give this one a, we'll do a berry burst bow. This is a nice bright bow. Okay. And a little detail just to make it a little bit more, create those contours in there. And we have two more flags here that we're going to color. So we're going to do one that's going to kind of sit here and another one that's going to kind of come flying off back in here, okay? So I want a little bit of that repetition of color. And so I think let's not do berry burst or pecan pie. We've already done bubble bath, so that's going to leave us with these two colors here. So we're going to do one in fresh freesia. Okay. And I'm just scribbling, and if it leaves some white space somewhere, I'm going to go with it. I kind of like it. It kind of matches the stamping off with the weight of the block. So there's a little detail in there with the dark. So there's my freesia flag. And now we'll do a lemon lime twist. And we'll be ready to layer all these pieces together. I'm so sad I forgot to bring Wink of Stella out. Because I like Wink of Stella on the candles and things. Because it just really makes them glisten. And looks like they're lit. Okay, here goes some lemon lime on this guy. Awesome. All of our coloring is done. Now it's all about adding everything together. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the wheels on the wagon. And then I'm going to build up so that I know where my greeting is going to go. So for my wheels, I'm going to do just a little bit of glue, but I need to do a little cleaning here. So I'm just going to take one of my pieces that I've cut away to clean the boogies off. Okay, just a teeny bit of glue right on top. And we'll just build this. So you can build with this because there is another die in here that I haven't used. If you want to just make the wagon without any of the stamped images, you can do that. It's kind of like the Adventurous Sky. You can make airplanes without having to stamp them. You can just do die cut. So you've got your choice. Okay. So I'm putting the tires on. Okay. My fingers are sticky. Sticky, sticky, sticky. Did you guys have wagons when you were a kid? We would kind of kneel in them and have one foot out, and we'd kind of ride them. You know, we don't have scooters like they do now. Okay, I put that dimensional a little high. Need to move it down. Anyway, when I was using this set, it did make me think of, you know, we had a wagon and some of the fun things we'd used to do playing outside as kids. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to glue this in. So if you remember, on both the flowers and this one, they've added that tab. And this is what that tab is for. So you can add your glue and tuck this right in the wagon. How adorable is that? Cuteness. Cuteness overload right there. First big birthday gift at 3 years old, a huge red wagon. He painted it? Oh, how cool. Aww. Question, do you still have it? That's really a sweet story. Thank you for sharing that, Stephanie. Okay, so now I'm adding some minis just to kind of balance things. And so this is where we're going to kind of go, all right, now how is all of this going to come together? This stuff is easy. It's these two pieces here. So this is what I'm kind of going for here, okay? And however, I put dimensionals on here. I don't need this dimensional because I want this to sit flat on this layer here. Okay. So, and I feel like I've got 3 dimensionals in my way. Okay. I know I've said I've done this before, but I do this a lot where I waste dimensionals. I'm like, you know, if you would just plan a little bit more accordingly, it would save you a few dimensionals and you wouldn't run out so fast. Oh, you lost it. That's a bummer. I have hanging in my garage here, I have my Schwinn bike from when I was a kid. So I am going to offset this a little bit because I'm going to have some room for my balloons. But let's see here. I think I'm ready to stick down the wagon. Okay. And then I'll add dimensionals to the circle and wiggle that in. So I am going to put my wagon center here, or close to it. And now let's add this real quick with dimensionals. My dad, he doesn't have it anymore, but when he got in 1949, when he turned 9 years old, he got a Schwinn bike, and my son has it. It was mine. I let my son take it, and it's hanging in his living room. It's really kind of cool. It hangs over his fireplace. So that's where that is going to go. Now we have to, I'm going to add the flags in, and I need your help. So I'm going to have a flag that's going to go here. Okay. And we'll have another flag kind of flying back in here. And so I'm going to put this one on with a mini on this one end. And yeah, probably just this one end. We'll reach this back there. So cute. And for this, I'm going to do just a dimensional on the end, just kind of like the way sometimes I do leaves, where I'll tack down one end and I'll pop another end up, adding a little added dimension. So this one I'm actually going to kind of have to glue a little bit. And it's going to go right in there. Just like that. I kind of want this one out just a little further. Yeah, better. A little bit more interesting angle on that. So there are those. And then we're going to have a couple balloons flying up in here. Yeah, we'll separate those, the Lucky Limeade, Lemon Lime Twist. And we're going to have a banner in here. A banner over here, kind of like our first card. And now we need to decide, I agree, family heirlooms are great. So we need to decide if we want the DSP rails or do we want the white rails. In any case, I am going to go ahead and drape some more flags on there. So white or DSP. So there it is with the white. Let's just do a quick swap out. And there it is with the DSP. I'm torn. It could be either way. But while I'm waiting for that, let's kind of load some of this up with, I'm going to put a dimensional on this end. Karen says the white. Okay, you're the first to pop in. We're going white. So I'm going to that there. And Jacqueline likes the DSP. But I'm going to go with the first one I saw, which is cool. Stephanie says the white. Okay. Now you're probably wondering why I put that one dimensional kind of off to the side. I put it off to the side because it's going to kind of collide with that circle there. So here goes my balloon. And here goes my other balloon. Up in there. Cuteness. And I'm going to glue this end. Nope, I'm going to dimensional it. I can see it needs a dimensional. Kind of like on that party card that we did where I was just kind of, you know, something, there was a balloon in between. Well, this one, same thing. There's kind of a balloon in between. I'm going to tuck this one behind. Kind of reach this over. Just like that. There's a little bit of a collision there, but it's pretty flat. This one, I'm just going to glue in a few places here. Just like that. And we'll stretch some party action over here. And we're going to go white rails. Okay. Just like that. And now we'll put the banner, and you can string the banner straight. I kind of, on the card I'm looking at that I'm imitating in a different color palette here, I did it on an angle. Okay, I think it is cute. Okay, thank you, Karen. So there's my banner there. So we have a few sequins left here. Let's use some of these up. And of course, Wink of Stella for sure. So we're going to do some sequins, but I also want to do one last little thing, and that is I'm going to take my linen thread here, and I'm going to cut myself a decent piece. And I'm going to glue dot the end. Okay, so I'm going to glue dot that end. Whoops. The glue dot stuck to me because I have so much glue on my fingers. Come on. And I'm going to reach this right under that balloon. Okay. And now I'm going to just kind of reach it right into the wagon here. And I want a little bit of this curl action. Even though if the wagon were moving, it would be taut. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out where I can get my glue dot underneath. Yeah, it'll get under there. So a little glue dot action right in there so that I can attach my linen thread. Just like so. Oops. Okay, there's that. And I need to do that one more time with this balloon. Hopefully it's long enough. Okay. Hopefully I can get to the... Okay, so I'm just gonna, I'm cheating on this. Get out of there. You're not invited to the party. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So that's in there, and then this one's just going to attach to that same glue dot. Like that. We'll get this back in place. And we'll actually, before I put it in place, I'm going to trim those ends off because I don't really want them to show. Whoops. That was my light. Okay. Just like that. And one last little thing. And I'm going to tie a pretty small bow. Pretty small. Look how big it is. Fairly small. Clip that end, and then I'm going to glue dot that right there as well. So I'm just going to kind of tuck those little pieces right in there. I'm going to add just a dot of glue right where those two balloon strings come down. And then we'll let this little knot just kind of grab that glue. Hopefully it'll stay. And last will be some gems. Just a few, just to kind of use these up, kind of party action. But just kind of tuck them, hide them here and there. They just add a little glint of sparkle because they're an iridescent. So maybe just kind of one way down in there. Again, it's just kind of adding to the party atmosphere. Party on the page here. And I really, really, really want some Wink of Stella, if you know what I mean, Vern. I'll do one down there. And we'll do a couple smalls as well. I think I'm just going to add that right to the balloon. We'll add another one right, whoops, to the balloon. So that gives us kind of a grouping of 3 and a grouping of 2. And there you have it. Here is our party, another party on a page. Super cute. I love it in this combination. Let me just share with you. Here's a couple more. So here was the original version of this card. It's morphed. That was the original. And here's another version of it in another color palette. So, you know, slight changes here and there. I really love this one here. But just kind of different variations on it. But I do love it in this berry burst color. Here is another one similar to this one, but, you know, stacking those flowers in there and just having some fun. You know, this paper back here is the Zany Zoo black and white. So that was that card there. But same idea there that we transferred over onto our first card today. And here's another one. This one you may have seen. Another use of those flowers in a totally different way. Kind of fun. And I have a couple more, but I can't find them. I'm like, what did I do with them? But anyhow, so check back later on as I'm going to make a few adjustments on that to include the hearts and finish coloring. And then this one's going to get all of its strings and it's going to get some sequins and that sort of thing. And we'll have party on a page and we'll just finish it up. So slightly unfinished cards, but that's okay. That's okay. Hope you have enjoyed that and saw a little bit more about the Filled with Fun and what's in that and what the possibilities are with those stamps and dies. So let me just kind of catch up on some of this. Stephanie says, I love, love, love the flags. What a blast it would be to receive this card. Oh, cute. That's fun. Marlene says, thank you. Karen agrees with Stephanie, who would love to receive that card. Fun-filled class, says Kat. Well, you are welcome, Kat. So glad you were here. All right, folks, there it is. Don't forget to sign up for the Frames and Flowers if you haven't done so already. And next week, catch me right here in the backstage for Lifetime of Love. I will see you then. Bye-bye.